What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Fantasy Football. It's been a little bit, but we're back with draft content. The combine's coming up here in a few weeks. We're going to be live in Indianapolis. I'd like to introduce you guys to the newest member of the Blitz Sports Media team, Bryce Degroat. Welcome, Bryce. Really excited to have you on this year. Tell us a little bit about what you bring to the table from the fantasy side of things.
Yeah, dude. 3 years ago, I've been a fantasy geek my whole life, but 3 years ago, I started making content and led me here. Ryan took me upon the team a couple weeks ago, and I'm excited to do this. I'm excited for everything that's going to come with it. And yeah, this is my life, man. So ready to get after it and talk about these prospects. Like you said, Combine's week and a half, 2 weeks away. So we're
Yeah, it's
getting to
coming up
that
quick.
crunch. Yeah, we're getting to that crunch time, and I'm excited, man.
100%. So we're tackling the top 24 rookies, PPR. This is just for redraft purposes. This is not how we're grading these guys Dynasty. We're looking at these guys, how much of an impact can they make on day one, depending on where they get drafted and where we think they are as a current prospect. Obviously, this is going to change based on landing spots, but without further ado, let's get into the 101 pick, Jeremiah Love. Now, Jeremiah Love is a player that is easily the most talented player in the draft right now. We're just going to lock him into that 101 slot. There's been reports that Love could be going within the top 10 and not falling outside of that. He was an absolute superstar at Notre Dame. He did it through the ground game. He did it through the pass game. He's a true three-down back, and we've had Ashton Jeanty come out last year. Jeremiah Love is as good of a prospect as Ashton Jeanty. Now, this running back group is a little bit less deep than it was last year, so I do think some teams might be willing to reach on Jeremiah Love in that first round. Bryce, what are your thoughts on him?
No, 100%, dude. I posted, I think like a month or two ago on Twitter. I think Jeremiah Love is a better prospect than what Ashton Jeanty was last year. Jeanty obviously had the stats more. I think
Yep.
competition plays a little into that, but from pure talent base and impact in the NFL, I think Jeremiah Love will be better than Jeanty. And I think, like you said, clear 101. I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, he's 6 foot, 212 pounds. That's going to play long term in the NFL with his longevity. Bryce, who are we going with at pick two?
So I'm going Makai Lemon. A little bit of a hotter take, you could say. Some people have him as wide receiver one, two, three, with Tate Tyson all around there. But he's my wide receiver one, and I put him right behind Jeremiah Love. Um, I also say, sounds crazy, but take JSN and take Amara St. Brown and combine the two. You get Makai Lemon. He's a little undersized, but I think you put him in the slot. You put him on a team to be a wide receiver too. He's gonna have 1,000-yard season rookie year. I really do see Amara out of him, especially if they went to the same school, USC. I'm a huge Lemon fan. I'm super excited to see kind of how his career plays out. It might start slow, kind of like Amara St. Brown. He didn't jump off the charts immediately, and then kind of just elevated throughout his career in a good offense. And I see a similar path for him.
Yeah, no, I listen. 79 catches, 1,100 yards last season. He is an absolute weapon in the slot and in the intermediate part of the field. The interesting thing, I think, with him is a lot of people are concerned about his size, but being 5'11" in the slot isn't the worst thing in the world. He gets open at an elite rate. He's a really good route runner, and that's going to play at the next level. We've seen a ton of these wide receivers translate their game to the next level because they're great route runners. Obviously, JSN, it took 2 years before he was the Offensive Player of the Year. That's not crazy at all. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't take long before becoming a superstar based on his slot abilities. Lemon is a more talented prospect coming out than both those guys. I think JSN was a little bit right around where he was, but JSN went a little bit later in that draft. Lemon's a guy that I think is a perfect fit in New Orleans with the Saints at pick 8. The Saints are going to be looking to build around Tyler Shuck as their quarterback. Why not add another elite wide receiver in the slot, which Kellen Moore has been proven to target in the past during his career. So I think it'd be a great overall pairing between the two long term. As far as my third guy, you can't go wrong. And Bryce, you might disagree with this, but wide receiver, you got to go Carnell Tate, a guy that's 6'3", comes from Ohio State. He's got that bigger perimeter type receiver build that we're looking for in fantasy football in terms of touchdown production, all that good stuff. And he's a guy that has been rumored to be going around the borderline top 10, right around that top 14 range. And what's interesting about Tate for sure is that he had 900 yards last year and 9 touchdowns in 11-game stretch. That's some elite numbers. Obviously, he was at Ohio State, won a national championship. He's playing at a university that's produced elite talent consistently. I have a hard time going against him because it feels like his floor is higher with where he's coming from, his production overall, and the type of frame he brings as a perimeter receiver.
Dude, I can't disagree with that at all. I mean, I hold. We'll get into my next pick in a second, but I really hold three wide receivers in that top tier, and the next one will be Jordan Tyson for my fourth
Mm,
pick. But dude, I can't go wrong with Carnell Tate at all. Like if people say he's the wide receiver one, I can't argue it. I mean, like you said, Ohio State is the wide receiver you. I mean, he's set up in a really good spot. He produced at Ohio State, produced
yeah.
year after year. He'll be great regardless. Like I'm a Makai Lemon fan, but if you said him or Makai Lemon, I can't argue that either. But with that being said, my next pick will be Jordan Tyson. Uh, dude, I see. Talking about a big receiver, I think he's 6'2", slightly smaller than Cardinal Tate, but I really see like a Michael Pittman Jr. or one of those receivers out of him. Just kind of like a bigger receiver, go up and get it. Um, I do worry about him being a little bit more team dependent than the other two. I think the other two can be Mekhi Lemon and Cardinal Tate kind of can produce with any quarterback, any
Yep.
team they get in. I think he's more team dependent, but regardless, the talent is there, and if he does get on that legit team, he's going to have an impact pretty quick.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a player that, I think won in different ways in college. And one of the things that stands out is speed to create yak ability. If he gets in an offense, right, where his yak ability is just, they're utilized at a high level and with his size, that's going to be a scary threat. And I'm not sure he's a one type receiver just yet. Obviously, I'd still got to do a little bit deeper dive on him. But I do think he's a great weapon that can plug and play into an offense and cause a lot of defenses nightmares in this upcoming season. Now, pick five, right? It feels like there's an easy pick four. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza is on the board, and that's where I'm going to go right now. It's pretty simple for me. I mean, we know that these guys in front of him. Obviously, this is a PPR league. It's not a super flex league, but with Mendoza, his value is going to be directly tied to how well this Raiders team improves their offensive line if they add more receivers. But he already has Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty in place. Clint Kubiak is a great hire for them with what he did with Sam Darnold. He's going to try to create an efficient passing game built around Ashton Genty in the run game. The AFC West is no joke. Mendoza's going to have to throw the rock around a little bit. I like his upside, and he showed some rushing ability in college as well. And he's just a winner, really accurate quarterback winner. He's going to be able to do stuff at the NFL level. What are your thoughts?
Dude, if this wasn't fantasy, like clear best player. I low-key think he's
Oh, yeah.
becoming in the generic draft aspect. I think he's honestly became a little bit underrated at this point. People just kind of see the whole quarterback class and they're like, is he really that good? No, I really think he's gonna. Obviously, the Raiders are most likely taking him. He's going to go there and be what they need, a stable quarterback. He's not going to light it up and be a top five guy immediately, but he's going to be a competent quarterback that can sling the ball and get the job done. And at this point, with all those
It
other
almost feels
names,
like he's a high floor type of guy.
that's exactly it. Like I don't physically like I don't see a world where he's out of the league in 3 years because it's like he's not it. He might never be a superstar, but he will always be in my eyes at least a competent starter in this league. Hopefully
Yep,
better for him. But
100%.
can't go wrong there. Next pick, I'm actually switching up and I'm gonna go Kenyon Sadiq. Um
Ooh,
Originally, I was higher on this guy. Like early in the college football season, I like love this guy. Like I loved him so much, and I have lost a little bit of love. I don't really know. Just kind of watching him more, I'm like, I think I was a little bit too high on him. But regardless, I mean, his weakness, like what scouts will knock him for, is that he doesn't really block. But for fantasy football purposes, we don't need him to block. We just need him to catch. I think he had like 550 yards, 8 touchdowns at Oregon. Didn't light up the scoreboard, but you play some good comp, got a pretty versatile offense. And I just like him. The way he plays, he's like a bigger receiver. I don't even know who I would compare him to, like in the NFL. But I think he could produce, and right now I think he's the best pick.
yeah, he struggled with drops a little bit. I think that's left a little bit of a sour taste in people's mouth. My biggest comp for him coming out is Noah Fant. I think he compares to like Noah Fant coming out, a true vertical threat tight end. And he had some production. 8 touchdowns is no joke in college. Obviously, tight end production isn't what it is in the NFL. And I do think he'll fit in an offense that's looking for a vertical type, tight end to fit in their scheme. So I'm not sure where he winds up landing out. Like he seems like he truly is a guy that can go between pick 14 to pick 38 almost in this draft because of how people view him and his value as a blocker versus how much they want him as a receiving guy. He can play in the slot, which is great. So he's a guy that if he has a good combine, Bryce, I think like he's a guy that could jump up a few spots and maybe be in that middle tier of the first round. As far as my next player goes, I'm going running back, and I'm going Jeremiah Love's teammate. And you might disagree with me, but Jadarian Price is my RB2 at the moment. I think, part of it, he just didn't have the volume that a lot of these other guys have, and we really don't know what Jadarian Price can do in a full workout. He scored 11 touchdowns and averaged more yards per carry than Jeremiah Love last season for Notre Dame. He also showed some flashes as a receiver, even though he wasn't heavily involved because Jeremiah Love was there. This was the best 1-2 tandem in football. We'll talk about the Penn State tandem in a little bit as well, but it feels like Price playing behind Jeremiah Love didn't do much justice for him going higher in the draft. He's around a round 2, round 3 candidate. I think like some running back needy teams that aren't at the beginning of the first round could be targeting Price at the end of the second, early third round. What are your thoughts?
Dude, I would go him too. The thing that gets people, it's like, two Notre Dame running backs, like that just doesn't sound right. Like, is it really like that? But he might not have. I mean, the numbers are there, but he might not have had all the total yards, all the total touchdowns as Jeremiah Love, as that should be known. But it's the talent, it's the film, it's like how good he actually is when he can play, and that all backs it up for that pick there. I like that. But I'm gonna go Jonah Coleman right after you. Dude, I love the comp for Jonah Coleman. Um, take I love these comps. Like I was saying, JSN MR earlier. Jonah Coleman's like an RJ Harvey and David Montgomery for me. It's like an
Ooh,
undersized back that doesn't really have much top end speed. He doesn't like he doesn't flash much to you. Like RJ Harvey, I was so 50-50 on last year because I'm like he's not flashy, but he reads holds so well. He's like a pretty much a human bowling ball, kind of like those two guys.
yeah.
I think Jonah Coleman. I don't know if he's a legit RB1 on a team, but I think if he goes to a situation like Denver did with RJ Harvey, it's like J.K. Dobbins is here. You're gonna mix in with him, and then if you get the RB1 role, you do. I think that would be perfect for him. So in a weaker RB class, he is my RB3. So I got the Penn State guys, then him.
Yeah, listen, I think he's a interesting one for sure. Like his profile is an absolute monster at his size, 5'9", 200 pounds. He's a true power back at that size, which is definitely interesting. I think, you mentioned J.K. Dobbins. That feels like a very good comp for him. It doesn't feel like he has much of a receiving upside, but he's a guy that could split some early down work, get involved early on in an offense, and definitely make an impact. As far as the next player goes, going Denzel Boston. Like this is a 6'4" receiver, guys, that we're talking about that projects as a true X in the NFL for the upcoming season. He's a guy that, with that size is going to have a lot of red zone volume. I mean, last season alone, uh, you know, he stayed at Washington, didn't go to Alabama and go with this coach, but he had 62 catches with 888 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2025. That's absolutely insane at Washington, who wasn't anything special this year. I think, the biggest concern with him is can he separate at the NFL level? With his size, he's not necessarily a guy that's going to blow by people, but I do think the size is definitely projectable, and some teams are going to target that during the draft.
Love it, dude. I mean, if you didn't go him, I was going him, and now I'll go the other wide receiver with Casey Concepcion. Um, I honestly I flip back between both of these guys being my wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. The drop problem, going back to the Sadiq thing, worries
Yeah.
me about KC. Doesn't Overall as a prospect, I think I'm a little bit lower on him. But then when it comes to fantasy, when we talk about the drops and we talk about him not being much of a blocking wide receiver, which probably going to fall in a little bit draft because of that. From a fantasy aspect, I mean, the numbers speak for itself. He was the dog at A&M this year. And I really think these guys are 4 or 5, and then there's a little bit of a drop off in my eyes at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, it does feel like there's a bit of a drop off after here. The running backs, I think, is where we're going to start to turn. KC, though, as far as I can say, like very quickly. The guy's going to be a vertical threat. He's going to be a guy that gets design plays. They're going to try to get the ball in his hands. Overall, where I'm going is Emmett Johnson for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Emmett is my RB4 right now entering, this time of the year. Obviously, the production was there at Nebraska, 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns last season. Will speak for itself. It almost feels like he's kind of like Caleb Johnson from last year. But what's, you know, disappointing with Caleb is he didn't really get that opportunity. Obviously, the Big Ten production was there for him overall. His pass catching and shiftiness is what makes him a difference maker in terms of PPR formats. If he can bring that three down back style to an offense, I think he's a guy that, goes right around Jadarian Price in this draft, and an offense has an opportunity for carries. Emma Johnson clearly has shown he could produce in a tough conference in the Big Ten as a three down back. I absolutely think he can be a viable option in fantasy this year.
Love it, dude. Love it. I mean, it's definitely dropping off a little bit, but bro, it's still dogs regardless. I mean, they're here for a reason.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
I'm gonna drop down the board a little bit, like we talked about before we got on here. Omar Cooper. Uh, I mean, everyone knows him for the catch, dude. That was absolutely unreal. But dude, I think this guy, I think he could have an impact. Like he's a little bit. I don't know why I thought he was bigger at first because he plays like a bigger receiver. Like he plays like he would be 6'3". But he's 6 foot right there, 204. But I mean, this guy, what was the stat I saw the other day? 20 out of 24 of his catches or something this year resulted in a touchdown or a first down. Like he didn't have a ton of volume, but the guy was efficient. He produced. And at this point, I think the upside's there. Like I think he has more upside than a lot of the guys around here. And I mean, he came from he won a national championship. He knows how to win the big moments. So
Yes, sir. Yeah,
yeah,
no, I think Cooper's national championship performance, like he's gonna be able to go up in this draft a little bit. Like I think some of these Indiana guys, like with what they were able to do against some of these other teams, the scouts are gonna be looking at them and say, okay, these guys can play a little bit. And Cooper's a guy that he definitely showed his hands ability for sure in the postseason. I think he's a sneaky one. Like I said, like I'm not super high on the wide receiver class out after KC, but he's a guy that I definitely think has some upside. The next guy I'm going is Nick Singleton for the Penn State Nittany Lions. He's a guy that really fell before the season to now. He was a clear RB2 behind Jeremiah Love, but he wasn't as productive this season overall. This Penn State team took a massive step back. Obviously, James Franklin got fired, but Singleton's a player that can play all three downs, has really good work in the receiving game, is very explosive, a downhill runner, very good in zone schemes as well. I honestly think he's kind of underrated right now, and I'm interested to see how he winds up testing at the combine this year and if he can help boost his stock. But this was a guy that we looked at as the RB2 entering this year. I think he might be a guy we look at that's a little bit underrated heading into the draft this year.
yeah, dude. I'm gonna follow that up with Katron Allen.
W. W.
Kind of like Notre Dame duo. Just not as good. But I mean, Katron Allen. The thing with him that I like about him is just like the progress. Like if you look at his game log and his stats, it was rookie freshman year, decent sophomore year, solid junior year, and then better
Yeah.
senior. It just he kept producing, kept getting better despite the team not being as good. I really think he's on that upward slope. He's decent size, what 5'11", 220. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with him there.
Yeah, I think, listen, similar situation Notre Dame. He could be an impact guy given a bigger role. And we'll see what happens. The next guy I'm going to go with is Mike Washington, one of the biggest risers from the Senior Bowl. Washington had a great Senior Bowl where he showcased a lot of receiving work, which he didn't do much at the college level. He had production as a rusher. He transferred between schools, ended up at Arkansas in his last year, had a 1,000-yard season there. Really good as an early down back. Didn't have much receiving role this year, so he went out in the Senior Bowl and showed he could run some really good routes. So that I think is bumping him up a little bit. A guy that's 6'2", 200 pounds that can run routes. That's tough to cover as a linebacker. So I think Washington, a sneaky running back here in the middle rounds.
Love it, dude. I'm gonna roll with Skylar Bell next.
Mm,
UConn kid, a little bit of smaller school.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't play a ton of comp, but at the end of the day, dude lit up the scoreboard. And I love when people say like, oh, he didn't play anyone. Like, there's so many good guys in the NFL that just didn't play a ton of good comp. Like, turn on the film. Like, this guy can ball. And I'd love to see where he goes, but he's gonna get the opportunity. And I mean, he's obviously produced, and he was at what, Wisconsin first. And I really think he's gonna be ready to go. And at this point in time, I'm taking him pretty much over anyone on this board with ease. So I'm gonna roll with Skylar Bell.
Yeah, I'm going with my tight end too, and he has a similar problem to Sadiq in Eli Stowers. Is he's not a great blocker, and that's causing him to fall down this list a little bit. But in the modern NFL, and it likely where he gets drafted, he probably is in a rotation with a tight end split. Is he's a guy that can step in and catch 500 yards worth of receiving yards, 5 touchdowns next season because he's that good of a receiver. Last year at Vanderbilt, he was incredibly productive, one of the bigger parts of this passing game. He does need to develop as a blocker, and obviously getting in the NFL, I think he will get that coaching to help develop that area of his game. But I think for this season upcoming, like his receiving work alone and the production he had in college there is going to find ways to get him on the field for this upcoming season. So I like him in this middle of the second round right here.
Love it, dude. Love it, man. I'm a big fan of him, dude. If I knew he was gonna wait that long, I wouldn't have took Sadiq so early. But they're not far off each other. I'd agree. Next, I'm gonna roll with Chris Bell. A lot of concerns there with him getting hurt in November. Who really
Yep.
knows what the timetable is? But it's just upside. I mean, he's a quicker receiver. When healthy, he's running in the 4.3s. Got a nice route tree. Produced with I'm blanking on Louisville's quarterback right now, but I did not think he was very good. And he still produced. So I'll take the upside there and hope he heals back from this injury and kind of just takes off.
I'm gonna go with one of the more controversial guys I think in this draft class, and it's Chris Braswell for Tennessee. He's a player that like you'll look at his profile right here, like he's got the size. He's 6'5", right? A lot of the concerns with him is he's not a great separator, but at this point, right, I'm attacking skills that I know are valuable at the NFL level. And Braswell is a guy, or Brazel is a guy, sorry, that is going to win on these contested catches. He did it every single week with Tennessee. He used his size to an advantage. He took advantage of cornerbacks and he won those jump balls. You can't really teach jump ball skills. And Brazel has that. So I'm looking at that and I think that this guy, if he puts it together, develops more of a route tree, he's going to project as a perimeter receiver. He's a guy that I think could be a valuable wide receiver too in an offense long term.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. I'm gonna dip down to the wide receiver board a little bit too, and go
Mm,
Antonio Williams. I've
there
been
you
back and
go.
forth
There you
with
go.
yeah, I've been back and forth with him and Lane, but um, as I was telling Ryan earlier, I met Antonio Williams' dad at Clemson at the LSU game week 1 this year. Absolutely awesome. Made me even higher on him than I already was. Thing with him is last year, heading into this year, he was pretty much regarded as a top 5 wide receiver with ease, viewed as a first rounder. This year, didn't play as well. He had an injury every other week, so he fell down quite a bit. But I still think the world of this guy from a talent standpoint. Like, I turn on his film and I could sit there and watch it for ages. Like, I just love the way he moves. He's fluid. Um, he's good. And like I said, I talked to his dad and all that, and I think the head on the shoulders is perfect. So I'll take a flyer in the upside with him there.
100%. I'm going with another combine riser in Malachi Fields. He was absolutely dominant at the combine. Like his route tree was elite. He was winning one-on-one battles and having success against those as well. I think he's a player that in a run-first offense didn't get showcased a lot at Notre Dame over his career there. I think in a passing world in the NFL, he's going to be able to utilize his 6'4" frame. As you guys can tell, this is a big wide receiver group. There's a lot of perimeter receivers in this group. There's not a ton of slot guys, and Fields is one of the guys that showed out at the combine, or sorry, the not the combine, the Senior Bowl, and probably is a guy that jumps into that third to fourth round based on his performance there, and lemay he has an even better combine on top of that too.
Yep, talking about bigger series, dude. I'm gonna follow up with Jacoby Lane. I mean, Lemon was the guy there, slot guy running the show. But this guy's still talented. He had a little bit of a drop problem, and scouts will knock him for separating and kind of being slow off release. But I mean, this dude is big. I believe he's 6'4". He can go up and get it, and I think he could definitely have an impact. And yeah, like I said earlier, if I wasn't going Antonio Williams, is going him. So I'll take him here.
Yep, with my last pick, I'm going Demond Claiborne right here. A little shifty back, mixing in there a little bit. Listen, I don't know if he projects really as a true three down back in the NFL, but he's a explosive player that when he gets the ball in his hands, he can take it to the house at any time. He has really good elusiveness in space, and he's going to make guys miss at the NFL level still. It's just a matter of can he handle a three down workload. I do think he could be a receiving back upside type option with a good offense developing plays for him in the passing game. But as of now, doesn't really project for a massive workload. But I do think he has the skill set and the abilities to go through and provide a weekly floor if he gets some volume.
Love it, dude. And I'm actually, if this was a week ago and Chambers was looking like he was going to get drafted, I would have went him here. But I'm going to switch and I'm going to go Garrett Nussmeier. I'm going to go quarterback
Nice.
as a flyer to end it. I loved him heading into the year. He was like my Heisman pick and everything. And this year kind of derailed him with injuries, LSU kind of being a mess. But then, as we know, he balled out at the Senior Bowl. He won MVP. Kind of helped his stock from there. And I really do think outside of Mendoza, he is the best thrower of the football in this class with pretty ease. Who really knows about his mobility? That's up in the air. But I really do think this guy can sling it. And if a team takes a legit chance in him in the second or third round, I think he could be special. I am a Nuss guy, so
So you're a
I'll
Nuss
take him there
guy.
to wrap
We
it
got
up.
we got
Yep.
a Nusser out. Well, 100%. Hey, there is our 2 round top 24 players overall rookie rankings. You guys are going to be seeing a lot more content rolling out on our Blitz Fantasy Football channel over the next few weeks. Like I mentioned, we'll be at the combine. We'll be covering that thing live, providing you guys content there. Ton of rankings coming out, ton of stuff that you guys need to start getting in the loop for that fantasy football season, whether it is redraft or dynasty. We will have it here on Blitz Sports Media. Make sure you drop a comment down below who your favorite rookie target is right now in drafts. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz fantasy football content. And me and Bryce will catch you guys next time.
Have a good one. Thank you.